Geometry, lines. So we're talking about three types of lines today: perpendicular lines, parallel lines, intersecting lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that form a right angle. And because they form a right angle, they make 90 degrees when you measure it with a protractor. Parallel lines are lines that are across from each other, that they're the same distance apart the entire time, and they never intersect or cross. So they never cross, and they're the same distance apart. And then we have what's called intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are lines that cross or will cross if you keep drawing them. Okay? So when we look down here, we have some kind of lines. Right here, I have an angle, really. It's A, B, and C. Now, when we think of perpendicular, it's good to think of a ceiling and a wall, or a floor and a wall, to see if those things are perpendicular. And so when we look at this, a lot of times you'll see this symbol. That lets you know that that angle or those lines are perpendicular, as well as 90-degree or right angle, because it's the same thing. So if we wanted to state that this line was perpendicular to the other one, we would symbolize it like this. AB is perpendicular to BC. And you can see that clearly well. It's like a ceiling and a floor. And if you measured it, it probably would be 90 or close to, even though I drew it firsthand. Now, when I look at this next picture right here, it's just an X. It's two lines that are crossing over. It is obvious that these are intersecting lines. And so you want to write down the symbolization for intersect. Technically, there is no symbol for the intersecting lines, but if we're in class, you write X, Y, and then it's hard to write another X here, so if you just wrote intersect VW or WV, you can name those lines in any order you want to. Most people do it in alphabetical order, but if you didn't, it's no big deal. When we look at the next set of lines, we have YZ and OP. If we wanted to say that these lines were parallel, notice that these lines are the same distance apart, and no matter how long you draw them, they are going to be the same distance apart. It doesn't matter that one is shorter than the other and one is longer. It just matters that they're the same distance apart and that they never ever cross. Those two criteria will make two lines parallel. So I could say YZ, and here's the symbol for parallel, is parallel to OP. And then last but not least, I have these lines that are not touching. But if you look, if I continue to draw this line in the same direction, eventually it would cross over. So because of that, even though they're not touching yet, we still say that these, because we know we're talking about intersecting. FG intersects HI. Really, it's HI that's going to intersect FG. So those are intersecting lines. It is possible to have lines that are more than one thing. For instance, if I had a cross like this, it is possible for a line to be perpendicular as well as intersecting. So you want to look at those things and use your knowledge. Remember, this is the symbol for perpendicular. Parallel, intersecting doesn't really have a symbol. I would like to say that we could go like this, but that's one way to remember that the lines are intersecting, and then you can kind of just use the word. All right, that is 3 different types of lines.